Hey, what's up, guys? It's WiseGuyVito here, and today I want to talk to you guys about turrets and where I would rank them in Helldivers 2 against the Terminid faction. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Let's get straight into the video. So before we start, let's go over the tiers real quick. S tier is just a solid choice in level 10 difficulties against the Terminids. This turret does very, very well either in crowd control or an anti-tank, and we'll kind of go over which ones are kind of like in this top tier choice, kind of like the cream of the crop tier. A tier is that it's above average, does very, very well, but there might be like one glaring issue with it, and we'll kind of go over what those glaring issues might be. B tier is that, you know, it's average, it's neither good nor bad. C tier is that it's below average. We like to see like maybe one or two buffs to it in order for it to be, you know, in the realm of competitiveness against the other turrets in the game. And then D tier is that this is the dookie tier. This is the really, really bad tier. We like to see either some major reworks to this turret or some major buffs to this, like several buffs in order to make this turret good at all. Or maybe it's just not a Terminid turret. And I do think there's maybe one out of this list, and we'll kind of go over that in this video. So as always, let's get straight into it. So anti-tank turrets, I feel like that they're B tier right now. Any heavy body that walks over it will set off the anti-tank mines, and it takes, like, I'm not gonna lie, it takes several to kill a Bile Titan. Perhaps maybe 4 or 5 to kill a Bile Titan, from my experience at least. Does somewhat good against chargers again, you know, but like you have to kind of kite the chargers into running into the mines, unless like for me, a defense mission works better for just mines in general, because you're just standing in one spot, you know where the enemies are coming from, you know, it is what it is, right? Mines in general in any other mission that's not defense missions just are not great. They're just not. Maybe there's somebody out there who has figured out some like secret mine tech and stuff like that, but you know, even me throwing the mines into like a bug breach, it doesn't work out great. It just doesn't. But I think anti-tanks at this current moment in time are probably the best mines in the game, unless gas mines, but we haven't really gained access to gas mines. We use them a little bit, but you know, once gas mines hit, I think gas mines will probably be the best mines in the game. But for the time being, anti-tank mines, you know, they're probably the best because they just do a lot of damage to anti-tank enemies, so like chargers and impalers and Bile Titans. But you know, to me, they feel kind of average, so that's why I'm putting them in B tier. The Autocannon, I do think, is S tier. I wish that the Autocannon would not aim for small things, because it just feels like overkill in my opinion. I wish that there was a ping system for these type of turrets, for the more like anti-tank turrets, to where I can just say, hey, you know, rocket pods or autocannons or whatever, kind of like what you have like for the mortars currently, where you can just ping and say, hey, you know, go after these guys right here, right? I wish that was a thing, but currently right now that's not a thing. So maybe that could be a thing with ship upgrades or ship modules, but I do think that it is an S tier. It does really, really good against impalers. It's really good against all the enemies in the game, really, on the Terminid side of things. So that's why I'm putting it in S tier. The EMS Mortar, I do think, is S tier as well. It's just consistent and constant crowd control. And, you know, it just sends out EMS, just like disruptive mortars that just stops groups of enemies. Whenever a bug breach happens, or when you think a bug breach might happen, you just throw this down, you just let it go to work, stops everything in its tracks. The only thing it doesn't really do good on is like Bile Titans and Impalers, but anything that's like a charger below, it completely stops. So that's why I'm putting it in S tier. The Gatling Sentry. So the Gatling Sentry, I'm actually going to put this in probably A for the time being. Not saying that it is a terrible one. I could definitely see arguments for it being an S, but in my opinion, I do think that there is another turret that does better than the Gatling Sentry, and we'll kind of go over why I think it is. But the Gatling Sentry is really good for short, just burst fire. I do think the cooldown is, it's fine for it. I wish it was like just a tiny bit lower, but the Gatling Sentry is really, really good. I just don't think it does really, really good against chargers. It's really more for just anything that's like a commander, bile spear, or nursing spear, or below, like that type of. So basically, anything that's like an elite enemy down, I think it does really good against, but does not really do good against like chargers and bile titans and impalers. Maybe whenever like the impalers put their tentacles down and their fleshy face shows, maybe at that point, because then the thing can actually beam the face. But anything else, I don't think it really does that great against. So that's why I'm putting it in A tier. The HMG Emplacement, I actually do think is really good right now. So I'm gonna put it in S tier. I think it does really good against like defense missions. I also think it does really good against chargers and bile titans and impalers as well. And it's also really good against shriekers and little guys and just like bug breaches in general, or just like any type of bug. But what it requires is just good placement. If you don't have good placement, then it might feel really, really bad. But if you have perfect not I want to say perfect placement, but if you have decent placement with this thing, you can get a ton of kills, and if it actually feels really, really good to use. That's why I'm putting it in S tier. The regular machine gun Sentry, I do think this is better than the Gatling Sentry. I'm putting it in S tier, and the reason why is because the machine gun Sentry is just the Gatling Sentry without, it has less damage, of course. I'm not saying that it has, comparable damage, but the cooldown is very low on this thing. So whenever you throw it out, usually whenever you throw out like a Gatling Sentry, as far as my playstyle anyways, I'm shooting with the Gatling Sentry, right? And I really do think that the machine gun Sentry is just good as like a little buddy to just throw on the ground and then just go ham, right? It doesn't do good against chargers and doesn't do good against bile titans or impalers, but it just does really, really good CC, and it does actually pretty good damage for the cooldown that you get. In my opinion, I do think that it's better than the Gatling Sentry. The Gatling Sentry I think is probably better like on bots and on Illuminate, in my opinion, just because of the like the little squid guys with the vote list. You can mow them down very quickly and stuff like that. I mean, even then, like, the machine gun Sentry does pretty good work on those guys too. But as far as Terminids go, I do think that this is like the perfect CC, or like just crowd control Sentry, because of its low cooldown. And if it gets destroyed by that random charger, no big deal. You can just, within like, around 60 seconds, you can throw down another one, right? Again, like, you just kind of have to watch your placement on these for the most part, but you get great value out of these with the low cooldown, so that's why I'm putting in S tier. Mortars, I do think mortars are probably S tier, in my opinion. They do really, really good. I think the problem with them is that they kill your teammates a lot. With the ship upgrade, where you can actually ping like a group of enemies or something like that, I think it does well in that regard. But this is either team wipes you or gets you like a ton of kills, like with this one mortar. So, and again, it requires some placement. Put it around cover, put it behind cover, and just let it do its thing, and just kind of like stand as close to it as you can as possible, because like I said, like, this thing will team wipe you. The incendiary mines, not gonna lie, I feel like these things are still bad, and I'm also gonna put the anti-tank mines here as well. The anti-personnel mines. I think these are still bad. They said that they made it to where let's say if a bug or an enemy just dies on the mine, it wouldn't set off the rest of them. I'm still seeing that currently. I don't know if you guys are. Maybe it's because like the bug body is dying and then rolling on other mines, and it's causing another chain reaction. I kind of wish that the bodies weren't doing that, because it kind of, like one bug one big sizable bug, so like a like a commander or something, if it dies within these mines and if it rolls on other mines, it will just take out like half your minefield. To me, it feels like the chain reaction is still there. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section about these things. But if they were to able or just to fix these, like the spread of the mines to where they weren't blowing up on themselves or any of that kind of stuff, then I think that these things would probably be really, really good, especially on defense missions, because again, like defense missions, mines do really good on, because you kind of know where everything is at. But in my opinion, I think these things still need buffs. Still needs buffs. I don't think they need reworks. I just think they just need more buffs to them in order to make them good. The Rocket Sentry, I'm going to put this in A tier. I don't think it does enough damage. I think it's good. I just don't think it does enough damage. If it were to do way more damage than what it's currently doing, then I think it'd be, fantastic. It does aim for big bodies, so that's good. And it aims for the biggest, largest thing. Now, sometimes this is a little bit inconsistent in my opinion. If a Rocket Sentry is targeting something first, like a little small thing first, because it'll still go after the small things, but if it's targeting something small, it'll continuously fire at that one small thing, even though there's one big thing that just turned the corner, right? So let's say if it's aiming for like a group of like hunters or something like that, right, and it starts shooting, right? A Bile Titan then walks around the corner. It will still shoot at those hunters. It won't shoot at the Bile Titan still, because the targeting of it is still, it has a hate boner for those hunters. It will not stop shooting until it's killed all the hunters, and then it'll go towards the Bile Titan, right? I kind of wish that it would just say, oh, cool, there's a Bile Titan there. I'm going to stop firing at these hunters. I'm going to now shoot at the Bile Titan, right? I don't think it does that currently. In my experience anyways, I feel like it doesn't, like the big body targeting that's supposed to do is still kind of wonky or funky a little bit. But, in my opinion, if they were to fix that and give it like a little bit more damage, I think it'd be an S tier turret. I guess it's like the bubble shield Sentry, or placement really. I don't think it's really good against Terminids. I think this is better on automatons and Illuminant, probably. I think, you have one bug that shoots you, and that is the mortar bile spewers. Even then, they kind of kill themselves with their own mortars. One bad thing about the bile spewers is that as an enemy type, yeah, sure, they have medium armor pen. Yeah, sure, they have, a lot of health. But whenever they mortar people, they just do... Sorry, whenever they mortar, their mortars are very inconsistent. And sometimes they work, and they work like a charm, right? And you have to kind of like, oh, okay, hold on a minute. Like, these bile spewers are in a good placement right now. Like, we need to handle these guys. But I still see bile spewers still killing themselves with their own mortars. Like, they'll set up for it, and then whenever they fire them off, they'll just fire straight into the ground, like where they're at. So I don't really feel bile spewers that much. If bile spewers were a problem, I can definitely see this thing being maybe like a B tier placement. But for the time being, I don't think this is like a Terminid placement. I feel like this is more like a bot or even like an Illuminate. I feel like it's more of a bot than Illuminate, but I think it's more like a bot placement and Illuminate placement than it is a Terminid placement. The Tesla Tower, not gonna lie, I think this thing is really good. Actually, I'm gonna put it in S. I think the only problem that you kind of have with it is that the random charger killing it. But this thing kind of stuns chargers, so just be careful where you stand, because the chain lightning of this is kind of crazy, right? Basically, like, the two S tier picks that I have up here, which is like the Mortar and the Tesla Sentry, they do really good at what they do, but they can team wipe you, right? So again, this all comes down to placement. If you have a good placement of a Tesla tower, then it'll do really, really good work. The anti-tank placement, I do think that this is good against chargers and impalers and bile titans. It also does really good against bug structures, so like spore spewers and shrieker nest and stuff like that. But to me, I'd rather have the HMG placement over this, so that's why I'm going to put it in A. Now, if it was against bots, right? I mean, like if it was against bots, I definitely put both these in, both these in S. But there's more of an argument for this being an S tier 1 in bots than it is in Terminids. Not saying this is a bad one, right? It's just for my play style, right? And for what the Terminids are, which is like a swarm of enemies coming at you. At level 10, you do have a serious amount of like Bile Titans and Chargers and stuff like that. I think that's fine. But to me, I think this is more of a bot weapon, or sorry, a bot Sentry or a bot placement than it is a bug. So that's why I'm putting it in A at this current moment in time. I feel like the HMG has way more versatility for more enemy types than the anti-tank placement, but the anti-tank placement is not bad. I could be swayed into this being an S tier placement, but I'm going to put it in A tier for the time being. And then the flame turret. I've had great successes with this, but also I have gained. There have been some missions where have gained nothing from this. And I'm going to put this in like low B tier. The problem with this turret is that range and damage. There are times where I will get like 80 kills with this if I throw it near a bug breach, and it just keeps on going on and on and on and on. But there's a problem though, in that if a charger or an impaler, especially chargers, a charger can just run into this and kill it, like no problem whatsoever. So if you throw this, and if a charger comes popping out as soon as you throw it, your flame turret's gone, and you get no value out of it. I kind of wish they did more damage or did some sort of stagger. Just some sort of stagger to kind of like give it something so that you're not just throwing it out and like the Sentry just dies. And then you're waiting another minute and a half, 2 minutes for it to come back up again, right? Which is a short cooldown, but still, it's like I don't feel like I'm getting much value out of the flame turret currently. I like the turret a lot. I like how whenever it dies, it blows up in a fireball. I think that's cool, but I kind of wish that it was better, just like a little bit better, and I think it'd be in a good spot. Again, like give it some sort of stagger to it. Or just way more damage. Just let it just be pumping out so much damage that a charger can't really do anything about it, and I think it'd be in a really good spot. So this is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Like, share, and subscribe. See you guys next time.